All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Tonight is our regularly scheduled Aztec City Commission meeting for Tuesday, September 28, 2021. It is 6 p.m. We'll officially call the meeting to order. This evening, Commissioner Randall is going to lead us in the invocation. Commissioner Padilla is going to lead us in the pledges. So, take it away. Thank you.
Pray with me, please. Dear God, thank you for all that you've given us in our great region, Lord, and thank you for our city, our staff, and our citizens. Continue to keep us safe through these crazy COVID times, and continue to look over us and be with us always. Ask a special prayer for our military, Lord, both at home and overseas, and all those that give so much to keep us safe and free. Thank you for this great country and all that you've blessed us with. Be with us this evening as we make decisions on behalf of the city of Aztec. Help us to always just have our citizens in our hearts and make these decisions for the betterment of our town. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and to see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All right. Carla, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Silver,
Here.
Commissioner Padilla,
Here.
Commissioner Randall,
Here.
Commissioner Lewis,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Fry is absent.
Okay. Next up is agenda approval, items placed on tonight's agenda. If there are any items proposed that do not meet the approval of any commissioners, they may request that that item be pulled for further review at a later date. I would entertain a motion for approval of tonight's agenda.
Mayor, I move to approve this evening's agenda as given.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next up is our consent agenda. Items placed on the consent agenda will be voted on with one motion. If any item proposed does not meet the approval of all commissioners, a commissioner may request that the item be heard under items from consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda as given.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda as given.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, folks. Let's see. I think we have some citizens' input tonight. Is that correct? Okay. All right, so while that's coming up here, citizens' input is limited to 3 minutes per person on subjects the commission has not previously discussed or formal action has not been taken. No formal action will be taken at this meeting which relates to comments or input from the general public. And we traditionally allow folks to come up and give their comment without any, real interaction between the commission and the folks speaking. So with that said, first up is Debbie Klein, 408 Highland Road, Aztec, discussing museum events. Good evening, Debbie.
Hi there. Good evening, Commissioners and City Manager. I appreciate your time. I just wanted to give an update on what's been going on at the museum. We've been very active this year trying to bring people in and increase our numbers. I just want to give you a little overview. Total visitors to date from May 4th, actually to last Saturday, is 1,138. Without group days or free days, 908. But total visitors, under all circumstances, 2,046. Concert attendance, we've had 3 concerts. We have one more, which I'll mention has been changed from Friday to Saturday. It's Saturday, October 9th at 2 o'clock. It's Will Osborne and a ragtime band. Come on out and enjoy the afternoon with us at the Pioneer Village. But our concert attendance, over 4 concerts, 286. Our movie attendance, we had a movie in June and a movie in August. Our July one got rained out and then technical difficulties didn't happen, but we had 140 members or people come out to our movies And we had a little concert before the last movie, and that drew about, I believe there were 30 or 40 people that came to that. So we're getting some good traffic, I think. The other thing I want to mention, other than the concert, and I think you guys received one, and I tried to get folks out here one, we have come up with a fundraiser called Ghost of Aztec Past, an Evening in Pioneer History. It's similar, just to help speed this up, similar to Dining with the Dead. We will keep it in the Pioneer Village. We're going to visit several places in the Pioneer Village. We have 8 volunteers that are acting out different pioneers from 1880 to 1911. That's what we're focusing on this year. It's going to be capped off with a hayride down to Miss Gale's Inn, which is one of the first hotels in Aztec, and proposed to be haunted, hence the ghost kind of thing there, and a little bit of a tour of some of the historic buildings in town. It is a fundraiser. Tickets are $15. We have 2 tours, one at 4:30 and one at 6. It'll be kind of a simple but pioneer dinner, chili and cornbread and cookies. And we'd love for you guys to come out and support the museum and share this information with your friends on Facebook and everywhere, and see if we can have a full house on October 22nd.
Thank you.
That's all I have, unless y'all have questions.
Thank you very much. Next is, I'm sorry, I'm fixing my timer here. Next is Alyssa Richmond, 200 South Ash Street, Aztec City River Project Update.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and County Commissioners, and everyone here at the meeting. I really appreciate your guys' time. I do apologize beforehand, I didn't get onto the agenda to be able to cover this in a little bit more detail, but I did want to provide you guys an update on the river projects that's going on at Rio de Animas and Riverside Parks. For everyone who hasn't met me before, I am Alyssa Richmond. I am the San Juan Watershed Group Program Coordinator and an employee of the San Juan Soil and Water Conservation District. And I've been as a contractor for the city of Aztec as an assistant project manager with Jeff on the river projects at Riverside and Rio de Animas. So I just wanted to give you guys an update that river construction, if you guys haven't already walked at the path at Riverside Park, is already underway. We have contractors in there doing the river as we speak, and we'll be done with construction in about 3 weeks. This project is for bank stabilization at Riverside Park, putting in a J-hook structure for more river recreation friendly and aquatic habitat friendly river system. And it also will be for a boat ramp at Rio de Animas Park that will be much more boater friendly and have good habitat. Just to give you guys an update again, I did want to offer for the City Commission, we would love to be able to do a ribbon cutting ceremony with you all, be able to see the new park amenities and be able to see the work that we're doing. So preferably, closer to the latter end of construction when you guys can see it all beautiful and worked up in its best possible way. But if you guys are interested and want to have a group or a one-on-one tour during construction, please feel free to reach out to myself or Jeff Blackburn, and we'd be happy to give you a tour during construction. Is there any questions? Great.
I do. How many J-hooks are you putting in?
There's 1 J-hook at Riverside Park that we're putting in, and there's 1 J-hook that we're putting at Rio de Animas.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Richmond. Thank you.
I forgot to mention, we do have tickets here for sale.
Oh, okay, okay, great. Thank you, thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item, we are at business items. Business item A, intent to adopt ordinance 2021-518, amending Chapter 11, Business License Regulations. Ms. George?
All right, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Good evening.
All right, yes, this ordinance is to establish a cannabis license. What the license requirements are for the license, such as zoning regulations, water supply, electric supply, fire inspections, establishments that's required, so we can have a sufficient review to review the application for a cannabis license. There are 2 different types of, there's registrations for businesses, that's most of our businesses in Aztec, but there are a few businesses that require extra review and oversight, such as body art establishments, adult businesses, pawn shops, those things need extra overview So we require and want to put it in a regulation requirements procedure to what they have to do. So they're not saying, why do I have to do that? It's in an ordinance, it's established. So to go on with that, I've also established an application that I've had in there for your review and some draft letters that we can put out with the application, so the applicant's not having to go to different departments to try to find these letters and trace everybody down. It's going to be included with their application, so they can just fill it out, complete it. We'll get the review process done. If there's any questions, then we can contact that applicant. As you can see, I included the New Mexico Administrative Code. There's quite a bit of requirements that a cannabis license has to have before they get a state license. So we aren't making it any more burdensome on the applicant. We're only requiring, sounds like a lot, but about 15 different items. But the state's requiring over 24 items for their application. One purview that I want to look at is that when we do a business license, I like to make sure that they have their state license. So for instance, a body art establishment, a tattoo artist has to have a state license to be able to be in business. As a city, I like to make sure for our citizens that we're giving a business license to someone who is already got their license that's required for the state, other than just, here's your license from the city, go ahead and do your thing without verifying. The state, on a cannabis license, wants a city business license before they give the state license. So they're going to issue a provisional license letter stating the deficiencies that the applicant may have, such as a city business license, but they are under process with the state. So in turn, I can issue a business license knowing they are in the process. Once they finish that process, then I will issue a permanent business license when they bring me their state license. So, and the other thing, part of this too is a security review. This is done by the state for the security and lighting of the premises. But it does require by the applicant a 5-minute response time if necessary, if there's been a breach of security. They said by the state requirements, or by email, text, or phone. The chief has asked me to include the San Juan County Communication Authority for the dispatch, instead of trying to text an officer or calling. That's our procedure. So I wanted to outline that in our procedures as well. That differentiates from the state. With that said, that's really all I have. I mean, you have the applications before you, and I stand for any questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you. All right, folks, commissioners will open up for questions or discussion on business item A.
I have a question, Delane. From the time the application is submitted, what is your estimated time for completion?
More than likely estimated, right now we do within a week with any business application.
Okay.
That's normal, but that's saying that there's no staff person on vacation, there's no incomplete documents that's not there. The fire marshal can give a fire inspection, and so we kind of like to just do a week. We have it outlined for 90 days, whether it's an incomplete application, but for us to return it back to the applicant, usually a week to 2 weeks, depending on the staff.
So if you don't have everything you need within a week to 2 weeks, they'll be notified, and we're not sitting 90 days or longer trying to get the business license.
Right, yeah, most definitely. That's the other reason I have it outlined on the application, in the back of the application is the steps that have in little check boxes.
Right.
Is for that our staff that is taking the application in our office to make sure and go down that they have everything. So at the time they're presenting their application, they will be notified then that they are missing something and they need to get it. It should be already included in the application, so it should be there. But we're also giving the applicant 90 days from the time they turn in the application to get that everything required.
Okay, my final question would be, in the application process, who is reviewing them to authorize the business license? Is it just you, or do you have?
No, good question, yeah. How that works is, yes, I review them. My office staff puts them into the database, and they review upon presentation and accepting the payment. And then I review them for official review, and then it goes to community development for Mr. Saavedra's review For zoning regulations, the water supply would be Mr. Morris, but we make sure that all comes back through us, but yes.
Okay, my question would be to Steve, and how long is it gonna take you to enter these business license coming back? Because we've had issues in the past on business license coming back to you to issue. So what's your time frame?
Like Glenn said, it all depends. If there's a complete application and everything's there, then hopefully a week. Now, what we've had in the past is when we don't have complete applications, we don't have a fire inspection on file, we're trying to gather information. For example, the zoning was this way one time, and now it's changed. That involves research. And so as opposed to just do something for the sake of expediting it, it'll take some time to get it done, hopefully within a week. But that being said, this is more complicated. There's a fire marshal, there's a water, there's electric. So if all that's in order and everybody is at the table, we can estimate a week. If any of that piece is missing, then it's going to require additional time.
Okay, and I'm gonna address that, Steve, because, and I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but I'm gonna there's been times that I've seen people come in requesting business license or authorization to do something. You don't have time to do that. And it takes a little bit longer to get that accomplished. And I think you know what I'm talking about, because you and I discussed it at one point in time. What I don't want is us to be hanging out, trying to get an answer back one way or the other. Either you're missing this, this is required, you gotta have it. She gets it to you, I don't want you, well, I'm too busy to get to it. So that, I think that's my comment that I'd like to make. So, does that make sense? Do you know where I'm going with that?
Commissioner Crowley, it makes sense.
Okay, all right. I'm not trying to attack you, I'm just trying to say that,
I think what you're saying, though, is if we have one more person in community development, we can get these processed a lot faster.
I think, we got more than we need.
So perhaps it's a staffing issue. So with that said,
No, I'm not done, Mayor.
okay.
Okay, and I say that to the point that I look at this business license as any other person in town who comes in and applies for a business. I can't get to it, and it takes us time, and everything's there. In a matter of an hour, after a little communication, it's done. We can't do that. These are still businesses trying to come into the city. I'm not in favor of it. Don't get me wrong, but I want to treat everybody equal on equal time frame. That's where I'm getting at, Mayor.
I'd like to add to that.
Please.
We do treat everyone. We
Good.
do our darndest to try to treat everyone equal and fair. And I have to defend Mr. Saavedra because he is on top of things and gets things back as soon as his review is finished. And that's part of that process is within that week. I mean, we are getting things back in a timely manner to the business application.
Satisfies my question.
Right.
Thank
I
you.
mean, yes, yeah. And that's part of what our office does with this application. That's why there's the checklist. If something is missing or we need to get it to a department, then we are the ones who follow up with that department to make sure we're getting the license back or the letter back or the fire inspection back with the county. Sometimes we don't get the fire inspections from the county. So there are some delays with certain days, but we do our darndest to get it done on time.
Thank you. I was just wanting to get a clarification on the time frame.
Thank you for the thorough question, the question and the thorough answer from Mr. Saavedra and Ms. George. I'll see if, does anybody else have any questions or comments on this business item A before I close discussion and entertain a motion for this item?
Well, my only comment, Mayor, would just be, I would hope that we could be more restrictive, but apparently we can't be, or we won't be, but, and I can say I've never heard any complaints for our business licensing office or any delays. I understand everyone's busy and, you guys, it's not like one business should take precedence over the other just because it's, going to be new and people, high-profile businesses. So I appreciate you guys treating everyone the same on that aspect, so. But yeah, Mayor, I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
No.
Okay, go ahead and close discussion and questions on business item A and entertain a motion for business item A, please.
Mayor, make a motion to approve the intent to adopt ordinance 2021-518, amending Chapter 11 Business License Regulations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Carla, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Snyder?
Aye.
Commissioner Padilla?
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis?
Aye.
Commissioner Randall?
Nay.
Motion passes 3-1.
All right, thank you. Moving on to business item B, intent to adopt ordinance 2021-519, amending Chapter 16 business license fees to establish fees for cannabis businesses. I believe, Mr. Ward, you are up again. Thank you.
Yes, I am, thank you. Yes, this is for the fees. So with every fee that the city charges, there is a fee schedule, which is in Chapter 16. So you can go to that chapter, find all the fees that are there. So because cannabis is going to be a new license requirement and a new fee schedule, we are going to add it to the fee schedule in Chapter 16. Like I mentioned before, the registration, there's two types of categories for business licensing. There's registration, that's a $35 fee, and that's what most businesses do. They don't have a lot of requirements. Here's my business, I'm ready to move on. Then there's the licensing fee. That's an additional fee, such as a body art establishment, a pawnbroker, a dealership. They have additional fees, different oversight, and we have different requirements for them to meet. So that's what we're going to establish with the cannabis, or I would like to. It's totally up to your discretion as commission. I'm recommending to do $250 for the cannabis businesses for most of them. There's a couple $35 ones, which is the courier. That's the transportation, picking up, delivering, the research, and the laboratories. They're not going to be any different than, say, I don't know, a pharmacy or, nothing different there.
Right.
Or production and retail is a little bit different. So I think with the overview of 4 or 5 different departments, I think $250 is fair. And I have put in a comparison. The city of Farmington, I talked to the city clerk last week. They're proposing just the $35 registration fee. City of Bloomfield city clerk said they're going to do the $35 registration fee and the $250 cannabis fee. San Juan County is doing the $250 registration fee. Their business registration is a little bit different. They're more on the chemicals. It's for the fire and building inspections for their oversight.
Okay.
But, and anything else, I stand for questions for that. It's just setting the fees.
Okay. All right, well, we'll go ahead and open up for questions and discussion on business item B.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So, under the fees, it lists, under section 16-282, under business license fees, an adult-oriented business, the fee is $1,000. Why is that
Yeah.
one so much more?
That was set back probably 15 years ago. That's for a XXX type business.
Right.
Adult
Requires a lot more
Orient-
interaction from our police department.
orientation, and oversight for,
Gotcha.
Ms. George? I'm sorry, did I cut you?
Well, I'm just thinking, why is the fee more to get, unless, is there more paperwork that has to go through
yeah,
the
there's
police department,
there's
or?
a lot, just like, they have to do some reporting on the goods that they have. Sometimes they have to have the police department come in and, do an investigation because of their, I guess, proprietors or their, customers that come in.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it involves a little bit more daily logs.
So it'll be more like a historical precedent, maybe, that kind of drives that?
No, this happened, there was a big push, I remember, back when the county was having a large adult businesses coming to the cities, and that fee was set.
Okay. So at the time, it was more in line with what the others were also doing?
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, I would, again, in my opinion, I'd like to see higher fees on the cannabis fees, around, like $500 or $1,000, but I don't think that's going to fly currently. So I was just curious as to what the reasoning was behind.
Yeah,
if we're
and
trying
like,
to-
right, and like pawnbrokers, you'll notice too, is also $1,000. Those also require daily logs, and they have to send that to the police department for review for stolen items and that type of thing, so they can always have purview to those records.
I got you. So it's basically just trying to cover some additional costs that could be
Right, for
associated with that
administrative fees.
business.
Right, for administrative fees for that business.
Gotcha. Cool.
And also keeping in mind, to add to that, this is an intent to adopt, so, there's opportunity to adjust if necessary, or if we get any strong public feedback or
Right.
any other information that we think is pertinent, so keep that in mind as well.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Lewis?
I do. Mr. George, I had a question. I spoke with Mr. Eckert this afternoon. He kind of cleared up a lot of it for me. Is that $250 adequate to cover the city's expenses in getting this done?
Yeah, I think it is adequate. We'll have 4 to 5 people overviewing the application, my estimate. Of course, until we get into it, we probably won't know a whole lot, but I would guess about an hour, per person to review it. So I think that is fair. I don't want to, at this point, charge more. I mean, that's why we have the fee schedule, is that we can revisit it. The intention of it is to revisit the whole fee schedule every year and adjust fees accordingly as we need to. So, as we go through this, we might see that it might need more or it could need less. So,
No, thank you. That's
we
fine.
feel that's sufficient.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Pettit, you good? Okay. If we don't have anything else, I'm going to go ahead and close item B to discussion and entertain a motion for business item B, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the intent to adopt Ordinance 2021-519, amending Chapter 16, business license fees to establish fees for cannabis businesses.
I'll go ahead and second it. We have a motion and a second. Carla, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Snyder?
Aye.
Commissioner Fiddy?
Aye.
Commissioner Randall?
Nay.
Commissioner Lewis?
Aye.
Motion passes 3 to 1.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
George. All right, we are at item 9, Commissioner, City Manager, and Department Reports. Mr. Murphy, I'll go ahead and start with you, sir.
No, sir, nothing to report.
Thank you very much. Mr. Eckert?
I just want to commend the department heads in particular with their commitment to transparency as it relates to public documents. We're a pretty forward-thinking organization when it comes to transparency. Everyone understands that that's a core responsibility of local government. I want to thank Ed Kotik particularly. He's a master of our social media and our website. He's exceptionally prompt at getting useful information. If viewers watching this meeting ever have any interest, strongly encourage them just to go visit our website, start looking around. Recently we were talking about our stormwater plans, and it was mentioned that 3 of those important stormwater plans that we've conducted are on the Public Works Department's webpage. So that's an example. You can gain a lot of knowledge, and I hope people are, by taking a look at the city's website. Also, social media. We're pretty advanced as a city to utilize social media. All of our agendas are posted. All of our meetings are posted. Again, folks, we like to see them in person at meetings, but they're also welcome to go onto our social media. We have at least 3 Facebooks, Animal Control, Police Department, and the city in general. We have Instagram, and
Tourism Facebook, and there's also going to be the senior center to establish their Facebook page.
And again, it's fabulous work, particularly by Ed. But I want to underscore, we're always looking for suggestions and ways to improve. So if the commission ever sees anything out there, whether you're at a conference or perusing other city websites, please let us know. And also our residents, if you can let us know if you'd like to see more. On the topic of events, it is a very busy month. Again, appreciate Ed for sharing this information. I do want to note that the Highland Games are this coming weekend, the 2nd and 3rd. Also want to share that Oktoberfest is looking for volunteers. It's turning out to be a very big event. It's a fun way to get to know people in our community, to be a volunteer. You can help with a variety of different things that they have, but the parade, the beer garden, costume judging, cleanup. I'm going to be the garbage czar is my role as a volunteer. Safe Treats, Friday, October 29th. Again, thanks to all the staff involved and all of our partners out there in the community who are really reinvigorating the schedule with some great events. Oh, I should say, with the Oktoberfest, if you're interested in volunteering, contact the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Padilla?
A couple things, Mayor. I want to commend the people that did the city walkabout. Very, very informational. I think everybody that participated in that, I got a lot out of it. I mean, visiting with our businesses, kind of seeing where they are, and they were all very welcoming. So that was very informational, and I think we need to do that more often.
There are 30 of them.
One thing, there was how many?
30 businesses.
30 businesses that were visited. One thing I would like to see, though, and I'll throw this out, is we have a new business in town. And I found out about it this weekend, and I made a trip yesterday to visit with them. Very, very surprised that somebody from this commission or this city would walk into their business, introduce themselves, and talk to them. And I think that anytime we have a new business license that's issued, a new business that opens, then one of us should go. And at least welcome them to the city. Is there anything we can do? That's part of our walkabout. Same thing. I really enjoyed going in there and meeting with this young man. He's got a huge plan. I don't know if it'll ever work in the city of Aztec, but when you get this big and you go this big, it's still better than this big, is my attitude. So, other thing I want to report on is this weekend, on Sunday, when we got back from church, we were sitting on the front porch, and we heard the races going on out towards Navajo Dam. We went out there. If you haven't been out there to see what is going on out there, you'd be totally surprised. There had to be, and I think Jeff was there. I met with Jeff. I met with Greg. I mean, they were out there. Andrew, who has come and asked for money. There had to be over 100 fifth wheels, motorhomes, trailers pulling motorcycles. But just for the numbers for this year, in just a few short months, they've had almost 6,000 entrants in those races. And Andrew came by today. They've had over 50 from Albuquerque, from Phoenix. I mean, we're getting people all over. And talking to Paul, Sunday after the races, he happened to be working out at Wonderful House. There was probably 6 or 7 fifth wheels in there eating. So those people are coming into our community, spending our money. They have some things they need out there. And they're not outlandish things, but that's probably a big draw when we start working with outdoor recreation, because I was amazed. I'm not a motocross individual, but to watch these kids, there was race entries 246, just the way that thing's run. And we've spent some money out there, and I don't think we need to be done. So that's going to be a huge draw for our community, and I think we need to look at that. So, in my mind. And I think that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Lewis?
A couple of quick things. First of all, Water Commission meets a week from tomorrow, I think. They're supposed to, at least. So I'll probably have more to talk about then from the water aspect. But yes, this weekend is Oktoberfest, and I have, no, October, I'm sorry. Highland Games, sorry. I have 4 kilts.
You look good in it too, Mark.
Are you going to change them out and do different,
I
like,
have to see which one I still fit in, because I've got the COVID-19 around my waist. And so I will be wearing my kilt this weekend out there. That'll be fun.
I'll not be going.
I'll warn you, I don't have any color on my legs, so it does glow. But I also did the walkabout for the businesses, and that was quite interesting, and everyone was happy to speak with us. It was amazing. I thought maybe we'd get some harsh comments or nothing at all. They were just very supportive, very happy to see us. And mine was more of a drive about because I covered most of Aztec Boulevard, but it was really interesting. And one thing I did take away from that is we always have the reputation of being not business friendly in Aztec. And every one of them said that they didn't think that was the case. So I think it's something that we should seize upon and really promote. So we are definitely business friendly here in Aztec. So, and that's pretty much it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Randall?
Thanks, Mayor. I had a Rogers Tax meeting last week, and we're still, as a board, they're trying to, because I'm not a voting member, but as a board, we're still having issues trying to get, a full board. If one person's gone, we're kind of, screwed, but we're still, I don't know, trying to get things done and have a chair. No one wants to chair the board. It's a lot of finger pointing going on, but when we're limited on who we can have, that's one thing. And I want to go into what Commissioner Padilla said, because it's awesome about the motocross track. It's busy, and I was trying to think in my head, well, all the fifth wheels, it's like it's good for Aztec, kind of not so good for Lodgers Tax because they're staying in fifth wheels. And as far as amenities go, it's like, yeah, it'd be awesome if we can get them maybe like sewer, but don't give them electric. That way they still have to come to town to buy food. Because if you give them too much, they'll just cook all their food out there themselves. I mean, I'm kind of joking, but it's awesome. The fact that they're coming into town to eat is great, and that's exactly what I was thinking, because it's like, man, it draws people here, but are they actually, hopefully they're buying fuel and everything else too, so that's all a plus. So, getting anyone here is a good thing, so that's great to hear. And I just kind of wanted to commend staff on the consent agenda. It looks like a lot of good things are being processed and going through it. We kind of had a stall there for a while, and I know some of it was COVID related and some of it was staffing related with getting our new, finance staff up to par, but I think everything's great, and I was glad to see the COLA on there, and just looks like things are happening, and it's exciting to see. I like seeing big consent agendas. I like to see those updates and know that things are getting done. That's what we're here for. And not much for a fishing report right now, but maybe I'll get one out soon. So,
Did they stock?
They haven't stocked Aztec or Tiger Pond in a while. It's a lot of that has to do with the pH of the water, I think. We get stocked more during the winter time. I think it's because we're not frozen over like some of the other lakes. But, and I was going to bring this up at the last meeting and I forgot, but I was able to go out to the Walnut Hills, and that was very cool. I forgot to mention at the last meeting, I was a little flustered, but I was really surprised, and the kids, I took one of the kiddos out to it, and she was very interested, and it had me, start some conversations with some guys I knew that were vets. I never really talked to them about it, but it's crazy. It really was a big deal. I think that was awesome that it came to town, and I want to thank Commissioner Padilla for starting that years ago. That's a big deal. So,
Thank you.
but that is all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, I just want to draw everybody, and these are pretty, get on the Facebook page or whatever, but we have these. There's literally something going on every single weekend in the month of October, which is probably, one of the best months to enjoy outdoor activities in New Mexico, because it's pleasant outside. The weather's usually pretty good, and it's not 100 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning, right? And it's pleasant to be outside and get around and see your friends and family and neighbors, and do some really cool stuff. And it's been a while, even before COVID, since we've had such a jam-packed schedule of really cool things. And that when you go out there, you're not going to be one of 6 or 7 people, going. There's going to be dozens of people. Got to be careful with COVID. That is kind of understood, but still, it's really exciting. And I just want to, give kudos to all the organizations, all the businesses, all the folks from the chamber and the city staff and the community that are taking part in helping to organize these events. So I'm not going to try and list all the names, but you know who you are, and thank you so much. I also want to give a quick plug, because the City of Aztec is a major sponsor for this week's Outdoor Economic Forum at the Farmington Civic Center, amongst other venues, but the primary conference is going to be happening at the Civic Center. Kicks off tomorrow night at the Civic Center. There's going to be kind of like a kickoff reception, I guess, of sorts, and then there's going to be the Outdoor Film Festival at the college, and then the seminars and panels are all day Thursday. There's a cool reception at the Farmington Museum on Thursday evening, and then Friday there's another half day of panels, which I am very privileged to be one of the moderators of one of the the importance of trails in communities. That forum, I think it starts at 9:30. I have to check my schedule. There's an expo area. Jack's Plastic Welding and Sandstone Cycles donated 2 grand prize kind of things, like a fishing cataract kind of thing from Jack's Plastic Welding. The Arrow was nice enough to donate a couple $1,000 MSRP sort of thing. Chris Martinez, president of Atos and owner of Sandstone Cycles, donated a mountain bike. So, there's a lot of things for everybody, no matter what your outdoor persuasion is, to check out. So at least go to the expo, it's free, and check out some of the great things going on here in the Four Corners area, especially in San Juan County when it comes to outdoor rec. I'm really looking forward to it. I already talked about the events. I've got some of my JROTC kids helping out for that Oktoberfest. I got a call from the chamber, so I was happy to be able to kind of round up some of those folks. They're very enthusiastic about helping out. I said free food, and I immediately had about 7 or 8 kids sign up and do it. And I just want to kind of piggyback about the business walkabout, about what Commissioner Lewis said, because that's one of the things, since I've been a resident of Aztec, that I've heard is that Aztec is business unfriendly, and I did not hear that, and I haven't heard that since I've been on the commission or a resident of the city, and I just think that's kind of one of those urban myths that gets perpetuated, and you just kind of assume that's the way it is, and that doesn't seem to be the case at all. So I was very encouraged by the comments and the enthusiasm of our business owners. I think everybody did such a wonderful job, and there was wide and broad participation from a diverse number of types of businesses around the city. And I would also be remiss if I didn't kind of give a little, well, more than a little credit to our city manager. That was one of the things that he talked about when he first came on board, was kind of doing that. And he kind of brought that from his experience in other places. And I think it took some work, took some time, took some buy-in, but he was able to pull it off along with the help of the commissioners, some of the prominent community members, chamber members, staff, and so on, and of course the business owners. And I think it was a big hit, especially for the very first time we did it. So, and I think it's only going to get better as we kind of grow and do that a little bit more and get a little bit better at it. So I want to thank everybody that was involved in that. I'm sure I'm missing something.
October 5th.
I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, October 5th, yeah. I didn't put a note here, but there is about half of the candidates that are going to be at the candidate forum on October 5th at Aztec High School's NPR, multipurpose room, are in this room. So the other folks hopefully will be there. The chamber is putting on a candidate forum for the folks that are running for Aztec City Commission. You can get on the website, get on the Facebook page and get more details. It's October 5th at 6 p.m. I would like to see as many people as we can get in there and still be safe with COVID-safe practices. It should be an interesting night of questions and kind of get to hear directly from the candidates and where they see our city going and their vision for how we're going to get there. So I'm looking forward to participating and seeing it as well. Did I miss anything else? I think I got everything. That's the end of my report, and I will go ahead and open it up to any department heads that are here to give a report, please.
You've already talked, Elaine.
Mr. Ecker asked me to give a report, so I'm giving a report. I'm due. All right, so let me start with our channelless projects. Many of you might know about that. That's the meters that we're changing out from AMR to AMI. We've got about 1,500 electric meters changed out right now, and it's really going smooth. The process has been good. Everything's working like it's supposed to be, like they told us it would. Sometimes you get in projects and it doesn't quite work how you want. We're reading meters from the office. We're remote disconnecting meters from the office and reconnecting meters. So that's really shown a great efficiency. When customers do get shut off for a non-payment, for example, they come in and pay, we can turn them back on within 5 minutes. Rather than waiting for the afternoon because the guys are still out disconnecting, we can just do the office within 5 minutes of payment. We make sure they're going to be home because we want to have safety, but there's also a little switch on there that we can have them push the button when they do get home if they're not going to be home right away. But it's been really efficient. It's added a little bit more work for our office because now we're doing the work orders and doing the reads, writing in the work orders and processing. But It saves a truck rolling out to a location and saves safety for our employees as well. But we also do it for just a regular household. I need my utilities turned off, so we can do it that way too. So we can tell you the time, temperature of any given day, any hour. So it's pretty cool. The other thing I want to report on is the emergency rental assistance. It's also known as the emergency utility and rent assistance from DFA. You see the commercials on the TV. We've partnered with DFA to take applications. To date, we've received about 48 applications and $45,000 that goes applied to the customer account. So what they're doing right now is 15 months. So if they're past due, they pay their past due and 3 months into the advance. But if you remember back in December, January, the CARES Act money, we've got everybody a zero balance back then. So they're only about 6 months behind on some of them. They have turned in. We have a lot more customers that need to apply. So I really want to put it out there to the audience, to you guys. If you know anyone that can get assistance that's renting, please tell them to apply. It's within a week we're getting the money. So it's a benefit to them.
Do you mind if I interrupt on that? Think about, there's parents and grandparents here, and think about younger couples that may not fit your perception of who may need help making payments, but often they're the ones who are just getting their wages started, right? And they build salary over time. So a lot of young couples will qualify. So if you know folks, please encourage them to take the opportunity. Sorry, Dylan.
No, that's okay. No, thank you. The other thing is we started out with the extended payment plans for people that were on COVID that haven't paid for the 15 months. We did payment plans. We had 127 customers that we started with back in June. And so I don't know if through working, they've started paying off their bills. We're down to about 94 customers now with payment plans that will go through the next May. So we gave them an opportunity to pay their balance off over 12 months. So a smaller payment plus their current bill. So that's been helpful. We are seeing a few of those, about 30 of those customers that continue still not to pay on time. So, but we have, we get our money eventually. So we know that they're hurting. So we just want to help them, and I want to encourage them to come out and get those applications and turn them in. It's just 4 or 5 questions they ask. It's not long. So moving on to waste management and trash. You guys have talked about Oktoberfest. They have donated some containers for trash pickup and removal down there as a donation for them. I also want to point out, and I have flyers, if you want I can leave with the city clerk, is the fall community cleanup. Fall community cleanup this year is going to be October 18th through the 26th. So we're going to have 4 to 5 dumpsters at Riverside Park. They're scheduled to be down there. They'll come in and exchange throughout the week. As we found out last year with Jeff, they got full pretty much every day. I mean, they're 30-yard dumpsters and they're getting full. Now, whether they're from the city residents or county residents, I guess it doesn't matter because we want San Juan County clean. So it's a part of their contract that they'll provide those containers for us and pick them up in exchange. Along with that is November is the yard waste. So we have the cleanup for the trash and the household items. Then in the fall, after the leaves, is the yard waste. And that's going to be November 11th is when you have to have a called in by. And they'll come to your house and pick it up. 50-pound bags, 4-foot lengths of limbs. Nice. So, and the other thing I want you to promote is the at-your-door service that's included in your trash fees. Is you call them up, there it's for hazardous waste, paint, chemicals, fluorescent bulbs, that type of thing. You call them, they'll come pick it up. They'll schedule a day right at your door. So, pretty convenient service. You guys talked a lot about the parks. As you know, we do park reservations. I want, and it's been my goal for the last 3 or 4 years, and with the help of Wallace, we found a company that has an online park reservation software where Farmington takes online park reservations. We're come in, sign the form, give us your payment. This can be online with your payment online with the same company that we use for our credit card processing. So I want to get that, and hopefully over the winter, by the time next spring comes, we'll have all the forms and everything ready to go online with that. It's in the budget. It's an annual fee, depending on your size of your city. It's minimal, so yeah, that's to come. So I hope to have that done by spring. And you guys mentioned the Highland Games. That was on my list to mention, and Oktoberfest. I worked a lot with getting everybody together to get those applications and done. And I want to help thank staff for their commitment to that. Electric department, the Parks Department, Public Works Department, we've all pitched together and get everybody together and have a meeting so they can, I think Oktoberfest people, it's their first time, so I think they're really appreciative of, being able to meet with people, without going around scrambling. And the other thing is business licensing. It is been busy with the cannabis, trying to do the research and get permits and call up other cities and see what they've been doing. But, I think we're on our way. Hopefully got a good thing going there. And I do want to state that I do try to put in the monthly reports the list of new businesses if they're in the city of Aztec and the names. So if you want to know addresses, I don't know if I always put them there, but just call me. I can let you know. Yeah, and I try to, state what they are. And I also want to give a shout out to Maya Pierce. I had an elderly customer call me yesterday. Sorry, it's emotional. But she wasn't having some food, so she was going without food. So I told her to contact Maya and explain her situation. And Maya already today has got her meals. She called me, this lady did, and she's so thankful. She's got her meals, she's got frozen meals for the weekend, hooked her up. She said she tried calling the senior center year and a half ago maybe, and was told that because of the lady's diet, they didn't have food available for her. So now she's hooked up and so happy. So,
Good job.
That's
great.
Not hungry.
That's a good report.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, that's good. Mr. Mayor, before you close it.
Well, we have, we're not closing yet, but
Okay.
hold your thought.
Okay, I will.
How does a guy follow that up?
I don't know.
An emotional thing like that. So, once again, the manager had asked that you guys hadn't heard from me for a while. So I thought I'd give you a 5-minute. I could talk for an hour. You guys all know that. But I'll give you a quick update with the electric department. We've got 9 full-time employees, including myself, currently with one temporary, another temporary to come on next Monday. Most of the summer has been maintenance. We've had, as you guys know if you've read my reports, we had all of our poles tested throughout the city. We had somewhere around 60 to 70 that tested bad or poorly, had something wrong with them. Not all of them were rotten. They just maybe had a fire at the base or they were splitting at the top. Something that caused them not to fall within code. So we have worked, we're about halfway through that list. Weekly, we have tree trimming still to do. We have service work that, electrician will be upgrading a service to a house or something, and those kind of things. And then most of the other times within the summer, we were installing new meters. And our goal was 1,500 meters to set this summer, and we met that goal about a month ago. So currently, we are in the process of buying the next 1,500, which would finish out the residential side of the project, and we'll start that in the spring. So we'll have to order them, the factory makes them, and then in the spring we'll get going again. Major projects that are going, North Main Extension. That's over a $200,000 project for the electric department. Right now, all the material's here, or at least 99.9% of the material is here. And we're just waiting on the contractor to say, okay, it's your day, let's get in, let's go to work. Voltage regulators, that's a $60,000, $70,000 project. I ordered these voltage regulators over a year ago. I've got 2 in the yard, and I contacted the factory just this week, and they said your third one is still in production. So once the third one gets in, then it's a timing thing for us. Voltage regulators, do exactly what they said. that regulates the voltage coming out to you as the customer at the substation. So it's a temperature thing for me to get them installed. I've got to have a day like today where it's very common the voltage is stable in order to pull the old ones out and put the new ones in. And it's going to be a full day, if not a day and a half job. It may be one of these things that we work till midnight to get it done. Start at 7 in the morning and get going. But the temperature's got to be right, because if the temperature gets up or goes way high or goes way down, then the draw on the system happens and I have no regulation, which means that your voltage at your house drops down and there's problems. Or if at night the voltage will tend to go up because there's not as much load as there was during the day. So the voltage regulators are a very, very important piece to what we do, although none of you guys even know or probably even care. But that's a big project that's still yet to come that we're working on.
Is there something wrong with ones we have, or just?
They're 21 years old, and back in the day, we used to bring somebody come in and just filter the oil in them, but we have found over time that they actually have a mechanical, as they step voltage one way or direction, they make an arc in there.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and those contacts will get old. So I really, talking to other utilities, talking to our engineers, 20 years, people basically told me we're on borrowed time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sorry.
No, you're fine. Our Ancient Trails substation transmission system that we are partnering with the City of Farmington. As you guys know, that's a $14 to $16 million project with another $2 million for a substation, a distribution substation for us after this is completed. It's all, right now we're all in engineering. It's all being designed, and we meet once a month. We're meeting with the design engineers. At some point, what I'd like to do is show the commission an overview of the route where everything's going to set. The substation for the transmission system is going to set right across from the motocross track, and then it's basically going to follow the arterial route back to the south of town where Farmington has that new station up on the hill. Let's see, what else I want to, our fiber splicing cabinets. 2 cabinets we set in. What these cabinets did was we had like a hub with fibers going to different places within the city. We took a look. It was over the years, we just started finding that we'd used up most of everything that we had going that route from here out. So Wallace and I got together and worked with our fiber people, and we decided that we'd go ahead this year in a capital project, and we set some what we call fiber cabinets, which then on this side of the river, one's on Ash, builds a little hub there, which then freed up about half the fibers coming up here to City Hall. Because the central of the hub was here at City Hall in Wallace's office. So we set a cabinet. What it did is it helped divide out what was coming out of that hub. And the things that needed to just bypass here at City Hall did that. The second one, that was installed and running. The second one has been installed but not totally hooked up, and we're working on that now. And that's over by the substation there at the electric shop. And that takes everything on that side of the river, including all the schools' communications for everything they do. And once again, it's the same thing. It's a place that we can bring together, and then we can move information through without having to get into a facility and then back out to go, so it frees up fiber for future. So, and one of the other things we did a year ago, or 2 years ago, was we went ahead and tied our fiber in with the city of Farmington's fiber on the south end of town. This cabinet will allow us then now to connect that in any way that maybe a doctor's office or some commercial customer needs to get outside and they want to go through the route through back to Farmington to do whatever they need to do. This will give somebody the ability to do that. So, and last is WAPA, because of the drought, cannot produce the power that we're contracted to get. So what they've got to do is they've actually got to go out on the market and buy it to fulfill our contract. And that's, right now, as they gave me notice that we're going to see a 13% increase in our costs for power from them until such time that the reservoirs can actually get some water. So